Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we all doing today, guys? Check in real quick. Yeah, the eye is feeling way better today because I'm doing exactly what the hospital told me, using my antibiotic ointment. I did get a tetanus shot yesterday in case of an infection, so treating that. It was definitely really uncomfortable yesterday, so I had a hard time getting comfortable sleep last night. So by the time I finally really got into sleep, my alarm clock was going off this morning. And when I look at the totality of it, wrecking my mirror last week, injure myself yesterday, blowing myself up last week, clearly I'm pushing too hard. So when my alarm got off this morning and I was still exhausted, I made a decision to clear my plate to let people know that I needed a day off to heal. Obviously, with my eye being injured, it wasn't hard to convince anybody. And I took the day off. Went back to sleep, went back to bed, slept from 6 to 11. It was probably the best sleep I'd gotten in a while. Got up at that point. Somebody did call. He's selling a house. Had a couple of things to do. Wasn't a big deal. Went over and did that just to get out of the house, get a coffee, and do something productive. Other than that, went to the gym, came home, and just chilling, like, right? Putting my needs first, taking care of my body, and I'm really glad I did. I feel very relaxed. My eye feels much better. I'm continuing to treat it as necessary, and just, that's it. Back to work tomorrow. No big deal, right? Guys, I was looking at the readings today. They were both good, but again, the daily reflection reading was really good, and I feel like it really applied to my former life and slight tweaks. But I like this reading, so that's what we're going to go with. It's titled "The Love in Their Eyes," and this is the daily reflection from Alcoholics Anonymous. Some won't believe in God, others can't, and still some who do believe that God exists have no faith whatever that He will perform this miracle. It was the changes I saw in the new people who come into the fellowship that helped me lose my fear and change my negative attitude to a positive one. I could see the love in their eyes, and I was impressed by how much their one day at a time sobriety meant to them. They had looked squarely at step 2 and come to believe that a power greater than themselves was restoring them to sanity. That gave me the faith. That gave me faith. Gave me the faith in the fellowship, and hope that it could work for me too. I found that God was a loving God, not the punishing God I had feared before coming to recovery. I also found that this loving God had been with me all along during those times I'd been in trouble before I came to seek recovery. I know today that God was the one who led me to recovery and that I am a miracle, a testament to God's love and grace. And, like I said, I talked about this actually. I talk about this stuff all the time, but I talked about this recently. I was going back over my head to days that, again, and I'd never really given AA or NA an honest chance in my life trying to fight addiction. I'd always gotten clean in jail and then gone to a rehab just to get to a holding, so I get to a halfway house because I needed shelter. And but the times that I was in rehab, every so often there'd be that one person that would come in that I could really identify with. So I wanted sobriety. I just, for whatever reason, I didn't believe that it could work for me like it had for everybody else. Again, that the disease of addiction was just talking to me and convincing me that I was different. Yeah, they didn't know what I didn't go through, what I went through, or this, that, the other. Just the same things we all think, guys, right? I didn't think because of my history and this, that, just whatever reason, I didn't think it would work for me. But every so often, I would hear somebody come in. I would always listen, and I always appreciated the guys coming in and taking their time to come in and speak with us and share their story. But you'd see that one guy that just really got the spark and just changed everything, and his whole life was going well. And I don't know if it was a premonition, because I certainly didn't think that would ever be me at that point. But I would sit there and I would say, why can't that be me? That's what I want. And it's funny to do these readings and breach that topic today and realize, like, holy shit, that's me today. And it's why I'm so incredibly grateful. It's why that I'm able to deal with situations. A friend was talking about it yesterday in the program. The people that have the blind faith and come to truly believe that God will carry us through are the ones that have the least stress, because we understand, yes, life's situations are going to happen, but we're going to be okay. We're going to deal with it. We're going to make the best decisions we can. Sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to be amazing, right? But that's just the ebb and flow, and that's just the way life goes. We're going to have good days. We're going to have great days. We're going to have tough days. We're going to have horrible days. But throughout it all, we're going to be okay. Like, unless somebody, puts a gun to my head and pulls the trigger, then I'm going to be okay. And even at that point, I trust that God's got something for me, and I would be a martyr at some point, and there's nothing I could do about it, and there's no sense in worrying about it. Now, granted, that being said, I'm not going to, if I'm walking down the road and I see, somebody running around asking for victims with a gun, I'm not going to volunteer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go looking for that kind of situation. But at the same time, I'm going to live my life full of faith that, as I've seen, I am that guy today. Because I've embraced this program, I've come to believe that there is a power greater than myself at work in my life. And I had that belief very early on, because again, guys, months before I got clean, I was asked to say a prayer one night, and I was very lost at that point. That was pretty much my rock bottom. Thank God, because I didn't have to go. I didn't, and I've experienced homelessness and all the other absolute horrible rock bottoms that I would have thought would have got me on this path. But I've got a very high tolerance for physical pain. That wasn't what it was. It was the mental pain, just the anguish, and the overwhelming sense of despair, seeing myself starting to circle the drain, knowing that I didn't want to experience what I'd experienced before. That got me to be willing to at least take a suggestion. Somebody suggested I say a prayer with her one night, and I did. And as I talked about so many times, guys, something changed in my heart that night. I felt something that night, and again, it wasn't some big miraculous, change in my life the next day. But what the change that happened when that spark lit was I started to feel and started to, and again, because unfortunately for me, I was able to carry the weight of the stupidity that I was running through every day. But I started to feel and see and know just how wrong my life was, and how that it wasn't just, I didn't want it, right? I didn't want it. And it was, and again, at that point, the idea of shedding it was terrifying, because it's the only thing I had known up to that point. That the few times I started to put something together, I wasn't working a recovery program. It was just sheer will, trying to live the addict's lifestyle without using drugs, and that never worked, right? But I understood the moment I said that prayer one night that I needed God in my life, and that's all I asked. I said, God, let me walk in your light, get me out of the darkness that I put myself in for too long. And boom, something clicked, right? So I started to pray again the next night, and I started, at that point, again, I'm an addict. I didn't have the answers. I wasn't bought into the program. I didn't have the information I needed as much as I thought I did. I was trying to bargain with God at that point. Well, I'll try and do this, and he just kept sending messages to me: shed that which doesn't serve you, i.e. drugs, right? So finally, I decided I'd stop doing drugs, and I thought I could just detox at home because God was looking out for me. But again, and God was looking out for me. Had I laid down for 3 days and got back up and went to work, I wouldn't be where I am right now. None of these things, every single step of this recovery has worked just the way, tailored for my specific thick-headedness, has worked just the way I needed it to, that I could get the maximum impact out of it. I laid in bed and almost died because I hadn't had a drink of water and coming up on 3 days. My friend Doug reached out. I couldn't speak. I was so sick. So he sent help in for me. I get to the hospital again. Dope man called. We've been through that. I ran out of the hospital, come home, and I realized, though, because again, I'd been praying and asking God for help. The minute I walked in my door, it hit me like a ton of bricks. What did I just do? Like, I literally was just given the lifeline that I've been begging for, and I chose the bag of drugs over it. But even that was heaven sent, because if I'd gone into rehab the next day, having not used drug for 3 days, they may not have treated me, because I might have been out of my system. I'm sure that's possible because I detoxed for 12 days. But anyway, I did the right thing. I picked up the phone, And I made phone calls till I found myself a bed for the next morning in a rehab, and I did. I've never touched my drug of choice since then. I went into rehab the next day, and again, 12 days of just being horribly sick, detoxing, but getting it up and eating and using the bathroom. And when I was coherent enough, going to the AA meetings and listening and wanting and just knowing that I needed to start figuring shit out. So I originally had only gone there for 3 days, but when asked to stay for the CSS, because I was by no means ready to leave there after 12 days, I did, and I started engaging with every workshop and praying more, and I started reading a book on scientific prayer. Started to try to exercise. I started trying to have hope, and again, 2 or 3 days into that, I was praying one day, and I walked away, and boom, the idea for the YouTube channel popped into my head, and that was something I wrestled with for the next 2.5 weeks. I know I want to do this. This could change my life, but will I? And the guys at the time, I had no teeth. I was 80 pounds lighter than I was now. I was horribly embarrassed by my looks, by just everything. My head was very cloudy. I wasn't very coherent. But I took the leap of faith that if God is, because it was just hitting me every day. Got to do it. Got to do it. Got to do it. Got to do it. And when I came home, I had that slip that night that put everything into place for me. So okay, because as soon as I had that slip and I prayed, God got me out of the house. I found the girl to help out. The girl was locked out of her car, took me out of my own misery by helping somebody else. I came home and I thought about those two things and said, okay, well, that's it. I got to go find an AA meeting tomorrow. I got to find my old NA group. And I got to start my YouTube channel. So I did. I plugged in, guys. I made a decision in that moment that I would put recovery first ahead of everything else. And included in my recovery was my health, because I had to get healthy so I could actually sit with myself and not be horrified. And it didn't happen overnight. We're 13 and a half months in and still progressing every day. But somebody I was speaking with today, I got a call from my Riverside Recovery Group because they saw I was discharged from an emergency room yesterday, so they automatically triggered something in their system, and they reached out to me today. Not one of my regular counselors, but they had me do an update to my case file today. And as I was talking to her, it was absolutely beautiful. She started asking me about where I was at in my recovery, so I had a chance to honestly sit and go over the milestones and the progress that I've made and the changes that I've made. And at the end of the conversation, guys, I felt like $1 million. I'm like, this is pretty amazing what has occurred in my life over the last year and a half, because I finally adopted willingness, started listening, stopped listening to the voices in the head, whether call it the Z's talking or my terrible instincts. I let all of it go. I surrendered. That's what surrender is, guys. But I did. I surrendered from day one, and not perfectly, because I had to change and pivot and re-surrender and go deeper and step back and realize I was starting to step off wrong and right my course. That happened a lot in the first couple of months, and that's okay. It's going to happen to everybody, right? But I did, one by one. Every time something came up that used to shut me down, oh, I started doing good, and then they came after me for money, so, oh, I'm screwed, I'll never get over it. No. I said, okay, well, how can I fix this? And I just did. And because I did, I started checking off all the things that used to level me and getting over these hurdles, jumping over these hurdles. That started giving me confidence that, yes, this is possible. Nothing is impossible. I am possible. And I started to believe. So again, prayer got me here, right? So for me, it's easy to go into a meeting and speak of a higher power, because I've adopted the higher power belief before I even got clean. It's what got me to rehab, just like this reading said. It's what got me to recovery was alignment with my higher power, asking honestly for help, inviting God into my life. Guys, we all have self-will. We have free will. We get to run our own life, our own soul. And I realized that God was always with me, guys. I've been through windshields at 150, crashed a motorcycle at 170, survived Boston winters, homeless, sleeping in snowbanks and ATMs. Like, I've come through all these things, survived going to prison over and over again. Again, made it through unscathed, no problem, no animosity, not angry, don't think anybody owes me anything. God kept me whole, kept me safe. So I understand there's a higher power at work in my life. Then the miraculous changes that happened the minute that I surrendered to it and said, okay, God, show me the next step. I will let go. Let go of what I think I deserve, what I think I need, where I think I'm supposed to be. I will understand that everything I was doing did not work, and I will let it all go. And I will just wake up in the morning and pray and say, God, show me what's in my path. And little boom, 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 boom. It'd either be something I heard in a meeting, it'd be something my recovery coach, my recovery advisor, my therapist, my doctor, my dentist, anybody, the whole team of people that were available to me to help me start building my life. And I owe them eternal gratitude. But again, every day, at the end of the day, I stopped and I took stock, things I never did before. Took stock. What did I do today? What did I like that I did today? What did I not like? What do I have to shed? What do I got to lead from? And day in and day out, when you do these things, they start to compound. And now I'm that person speaking, because I go on every speaking commitment I'm offered to do. I'm that person with that spark in my eye, that speaks passionately, that welcomes everybody, that shares open and honestly. It's miraculous. Never mind the strides that I made in my physical life. Things I was never able to do in 40 years, I've checked off within a year. I've got my business. I'm ready to buy a home. I've got paying taxes, insurance, like all these things that make an adult responsible. I do. I don't break laws. And that's the thing, guys. I didn't think laws was what you get caught. No, I do the right thing today because I know it's the right thing to do, because I understand everything I have. When you walk around feeling like you're surrounded by a team of angels, you know that they can't be with you if you're stealing candy bars or doing something stupid or downing somebody else or lying, cheating, stealing. I know that today. And I won't risk everything I've built for anybody. So I do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, because I understand what those consequences are. To give up this new life that I'm building today? Absolutely not. Not for anyone, any circumstance, any situation, nobody. Because I matter, number one, today. And I understand today, I look at the amount of good that I'm able to do. The amount of people I reach, whether through my meetings, whether through speaking, whether just being honest with customers and everybody. It's funny, guys, when I start talking to people and telling my story honestly, every single person that I think in the past would look down on me starts to share that they either themselves or someone they know, a family member, brother, sister, son, daughter, cousin, has suffered from this addiction, and then they put me in touch with these people, and I build my community, and people start watching my videos, and they reach out to me, and suddenly I'm becoming an inspiration and a leader in a community full of amazing people that have also overcome this amazing disease. It's opened every one of you, and if you think it doesn't work, just go to a meeting and listen. You will hear person after person speaking with love in their eyes, just like I did. And then you'll see the power of recovery, the power of inviting a higher power into your life. Guys, we have a deadly disease that we tried to fight on our own. Most of us, myself certainly, for decades, couldn't do it. Failed miserable every single time. The minute I invited a higher power into my life, he started showing me the steps, put me in touch with the right people that had the right information. That information is all I take in today. That's why I don't watch TV. I study. It's beautiful, guys. Recovery is available to everybody. You can't do it on your own. Find a support group. Accept that. And the thing I used to say, support groups, I don't know, I'm a man, and I go out and fail over and over again. My position on everything has changed, and I'm incredibly grateful for that today. I'm so happy to admit I was so incredibly wrong, because today I get to be so incredibly right. Not perfect, but I like the human being that I am today. I like the things that I do. I like seeing the love in other people's eyes as they get it and they start building their lives. I like to celebrate their wins, and I like to help alleviate their burdens. Simple as that. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.